the heading elements in HTML marked by the h1 to h6 tags. These headings are such an important part of organizing content and helping readers understand the structure of information on a page. Also, semantically, headings show the hierarchical structure of a document, which means they indicate the different levels of importance. HTML headings present a visual hierarchy that helps users and search engines to understand the structure of the content. H1 is the highest level heading element, followed by subsequent lower levels of headings, H2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, all this is meant to tell you something very important about the main use of the heading tags. For example, on this page, depending on how these headings are used in a sequence, the place of the document becomes apparent to all its users, search engines, as well as screen readers. This is true also about our page, which we're gonna continue to design. In this lecture, we'll demonstrate how the H1 to H6 tags can be valuable tools for structuring and organizing web page content. They help create well-structured, accessible, and search engine-friendly documents. Hello guys, good to see you again. Okay, let's start with the mighty H1 element, the king of headings. It shows the main idea or subject matter of the whole page. Remember, there should only be one H1 element per page, because it sets the main idea. Think of the H1 element as the main answer to the question, what is this page about? Search engines give a lot of importance to the text within the H1 tag when deciding if a page is relevant, so it's important to include our main keyword or topic. Nevertheless, stuffing or making it too wordy should be avoided. Keep it short and concise. Aim for 2 to 5 words that clearly express the main idea. The goal is to capture readers' attention at a glance and let them know if the page content is relevant to what they are looking for. Alright. On our page, the header title, Welcome to Seymour Nest, will be the content of our single H1 tag page. Let's place this text within an H1 tag. Remember, it's important to maintain the hierarchical order when using heading elements. Start with an H1, followed by H2, 3, 4, 5, and H6 in sequence. This ensures a logical and consistent structure. Skipping heading levels or using them out of order can confuse users and search engines trying to understand the content. So it's important to know that this text represents the top hierarchy of the content on our web page. That's why we put it inside the H1 tag. You may have noticed that the header doesn't match the overall look of the page. To fix this, we can add some CSS properties inside the style tag of the header element. Don't worry, we'll discuss these CSS properties in detail during the CSS course. For now, let's focus on making the header look more suitable. Now, let's inspect the page and see the default CSS properties that the Chrome browser applies to the H1 tag. As you can see, the H1 tag has a display property set to block, which means it takes up the full width of the screen. The 2em value for the text size makes it very large. These default properties determine the size and appearance of the text inside the H1 tag, so heading elements have both semantic and visual significance on a web page. It's important to note that these default CSS properties can be modified to match the desired design. For instance, we can change the appearance of the text inside our h1 tag by modifying the default CSS properties provided by the browser. Ultimately, the adjustments depend on our specific design requirements, including text sizes and spacing. Alright, now there is another important thing to know about heading elements. Remember, the main purpose of headings is to convey meaning and structure, rather than just determining how they look. For example, let's duplicate the header element, and instead of using the h1 tag, we'll put the text inside the span tag. Next, let's apply the default CSS properties that the browser gives to the h1 tag to the span tag. Additionally, let's add some margin to the header to enhance its appearance. As you can see, both texts inside the h1 and span tags look the same visually. However, from a semantic and non-semantic perspective, they are very different. Unlike the span, the h1 tag not only contributes to the visual presentation, but also holds significant semantic value for search engines, assistive technologies, and users. Similarly, all heading elements from h1 to h6 have their own semantic values for search engines, assistive technologies, and users. It's important to note that, as we move down the hierarchy, the importance, meaning, and how they are perceived by search engines, screen readers, and users change in their order. Okay, moving down the hierarchy, we have the h2 element. It represents a subheading that is lower in hierarchy than the h1 element. Web developers often use the h2 element to divide content into major sections or fundamental topics. In our case, within the main page, we want to create additional subsections using h2 headings. So, at the beginning of each section, on the left and right, let's put the text inside an h2 tag. Then, we can apply some CSS properties to enhance their appearance. Now, let's inspect the h2 element and see its default CSS properties. As you can see, the font size and this tag are smaller compared to the same CSS properties in the h1 tag. These secondary headings should continue our outline structure in a logical and sequential manner. For example, in our page, the h1 tag represents Welcome to Seymour Nest, and the h2 tags are for Our Courses and Future Courses. These subsections make it easier for readers to scan and navigate the content, and they also provide additional clues for search engines. Okay, moving on, we come across the h3 element, which is a loyal servant to the h2. It represents the subheading within the sections defined by the h2 headings. These subheadings further divide and organize the content, making it easier for readers to navigate and understand the information. In our page, we can use h3 tags to display the name of our courses on the left side and the names for our future courses on the right side. Okay, if we inspect the page and check the CSS properties of the h3 element, we'll see that it still has the display property set to block but the font size are smaller compared to the previous headings. Alright, we've used all 3 heading elements available on our page. However, there are 3 other heading elements, H4, 5, and 6, that we can also use in HTML pages. Remember to respect the hierarchy if you decide to use them on a page. Okay, done. See you soon.